Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and welcome to my Friday Reads and Rambles, my first Reads and Rambles of 2021. This is going to kind of double as my January TBR because I didn't film a January TBR, and now I finished some things already that were on the TBR. So here's what I've been reading and finishing lately. You may have missed my 2021 reading goals video that I did, but in that video I mentioned that I want to kind of scale back my reading a little bit this year and read 5 or 6 books each month, which is still an awful lot. But I was reading a ridiculous amount last year, and I don't think that was necessarily healthy. Let's just get into it. I'm already starting to ramble. So the first thing I wanted to do was to reread one book every month. And I actually started this back in December, a reread of The Lord of the Rings, but this is going to span quite a while because I'm listening to it on audiobook, and I think so I count it as one book, but if you add up the 3 different parts, it is like between 50 and 60 hours, I think. So it's going to take me a while to get through. But just today, I finished The Fellowship and am on to now The Two Towers. I've been loving it. It's according to the cover, or you can't really call it a cover on an audiobook, but the graphic, I guess, it says it's the only unabridged audio recording. So that's what I've been listening to. It's narrated by Inglis, and it's like 10 out of 10. Love the narration, love it all. I've been like, Lord of the Rings is a comfort read to me, and it just like is giving me all of the warm feelings, and I'm like, yeah, just relishing it. So I've been doing that as my reread for January. And the next category I wanted to read one book a month was poetry. And I finished this as well. I read Life on Mars by Tracey K. Smith, and I gave it 5 stars. It is an excellent, excellent poetry collection. I think it won the Pulitzer, so like, duh, it's really good. Actually, sometimes awards don't really mean much. This one is really good. I have a hard time like reviewing poetry. This one has a lot of like allusions and like imagery around like religion and like God and spirituality, and a lot of imagery around like the universe and space. It was so good. I have reread many of the poems just like over and over again. Super accessible. I just, yeah, like even if you're a beginner in poetry, I would recommend this collection. It was absolutely excellent, excellent, excellent. The next category of book that I wanted to read monthly is nonfiction. And I haven't started this yet, but we are reading Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. We are reading this for my like in real life book club. Well, we're meeting virtually now, but like people I know in my actual daily life, not my booktube peeps. Did I just say peeps? I'm old, sorry. So I have not read this book and I have not seen the movie. So my book club this year, we've decided that we are going to be reading books that have a film adaptation, and then kind of like doing watch parties or like live streaming them. Not live streaming, you know what I mean. We're going to do like a virtual watch the movie type thing. So I'm going to be reading this in January, or at least starting it in January. We've decided to do books quarterly for my book club just because people are busy. So I will at least be starting this month and potentially finishing it, depending on how fast of a read it is. I find with nonfiction, like, depending on the style, whether it is more narrative or more academic or more whatever, sometimes I like to kind of like slow down to make sure that I absorb the necessary information. I feel like this one will be pretty narrative and straightforward, so maybe I'll get it done in January. But that's what I am reading for my nonfiction. If you haven't heard of this or not familiar with what it's about, well, I'll just read you the little snippet from the front because it sums it up. During World War II, America's fledgling aeronautics industry hired Black female mathematicians to fill a labor shortage. These human computers stayed on to work for NASA and made sure America won the space race. So it's about those Black women mathematicians who basically helped send astronauts to space. Okay, so the next category of things, this is number 4 now? We have a reread. I mentioned poetry, I mentioned nonfiction, graphic novel. Here it is. So last year I started the Saga series by Brian K. Vaughn, illustrated by Fiona Staples. This is a space opera about 2 different like races of people, I guess. A lot of people in this series have kind of like, you can see here, she has wings, he has horns, like have kind of like animal properties or like physical characteristics. So it's about these 2 people who fall in love and have a baby, but they are on opposite sides of this like intergalactic war. So it follows them like basically trying to like outrun and escape the people who are after them because they've essentially committed, I don't know, space treason. It's very weird. It's super imaginative. I just love like all the different types of like alien, like human type people. There's a huge cast of characters, but he's done a good job of kind of like introducing them slowly throughout the series. So this was volume 3, if I haven't mentioned. I gave volumes 1 and 2 4 stars. I just really like the story, and I think it's super imaginative and weird and like gripping. This one I gave 5 stars. I don't know why, just like some of the storylines in here and some of the things that happen like really like resonated with me. Like, I don't know, I just really loved this volume. If he keeps this up, like there's no, like I can't see me not finishing out this series unless it like jumps the shark at some point. But I mean, it's pretty much already jumped the shark. It's really weird. Jump the shark, not sharp. Sorry, it's night if you can't tell. We're working in low light and with half a brain cell right now. So those were all the things that I like definitely wanted to read in terms of like the different categories of things. And that leaves kind of like 2 like open spots. And so what I have going on for those 2 open spots right now is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. This is the first in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy. It's an epic fantasy. I can't really give you a good synopsis of this. I've gone into it knowing pretty much nothing. I'm reading this because of a read-along that Rick, what's his last name? I can't remember. I'll insert his channel below, but he's leading a read-along of this from January through April. So in January, we're reading the first one. I'm not very far into it yet, so I can't really give like a really good like synopsis or anything to you. I'm not really like super into it yet. It's fine, but I'm so early that like the story hasn't really started yet. This is all kind of like we're still in the world building and like getting to know the little kingdom or whatever where we are. So that's that. And the other thing that I'm reading January and another couple of months, I forget how long we're reading this, but Courtney Farrader and I are buddy reading Moby Dick, and it's a little bit of a chunky book, so we're reading it over a few months. So I'm going to finish up a couple of chapters of this tonight so that we can check in about it tomorrow. Again, I'm very early days with this, so we're just kind of like getting a start on like collecting like characters and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Moby Dick, right? It's about a whale and a captain who's obsessed with the whale, as far as I know. So those are all the things that I like definitely am reading this month. And then I have kind of a category of if I have the time, because again, I wanted to kind of pull back and like make room for other hobbies of mine this year. So these other books are going to be things I'm reading only if I really and truly have some extra time on my hands. But I really want to, when I can, take part in the Invisible Cities reading challenge this year. So I will link the appropriate channels below everyone who is hosting this, but every month they're choosing 3 countries to read from. And for January, we are reading from Morocco, Japan, and Argentina. And I am trying to only participate when there are books from those countries that are already on my TBR, because my TBR on Goodreads is just like out of control and I'm trying to get through that. So there's nothing on my TBR from Morocco, so that's kind of like lower on my priority list, and I'll read from Morocco if I can, but that's like the last one I'd be picking up. Argentina, what I will read if I get a chance to is Tenders the Flesh. I've forgotten the author's name. Agustina something. I will make sure to list all the books below. I'm not sure I'm going to be in the mood for that. I get like seasonally, like not clinically depressed, but I do get like seasonal depression because I live in Canada and it's cold and there's like no daylight. So I tend to try to read more light or uplifting things in January specifically. So I'm not sure Tender is the Flesh is going to be a January read for me, but we'll see how I'm feeling. But for Japan, I have 2 possibilities. So I actually already started on one because I was at an appointment where I had like a half-hour wait. And so I just kind of like went through my phone to see what I already had like downloaded and available that I could read while I was waiting. And I had, what's the author's name? I think their name is Banana Yoshimoto. Again, I'll make sure it's linked below. But the name of the book, it's like 2 novellas, I think, called Hardboiled and Hard Luck, maybe? Wow, I really should have written this down before I came and filmed the video. Sorry. I chose it because I didn't want to start anything really big because I have some like big books that I'm reading this month, but I couldn't sit and wait for like 30 minutes with nothing to do. So I wanted to start like something small, and I think altogether it's like 100 pages or something. It's like very short. And I'm like, after just that half hour, I'm like a third of the way through it or something. But it's starting with like this woman is like hiking and she's thinking about this like past relationship, and she like sees these weird like egg-shaped stones, and then she like walks into this town and gets a hotel and like weird stuff starts happening. It's very odd and has this like eerie atmosphere. There's no real plot yet, but I kind of don't care, which is not like me. I usually like a pretty strong plot, but the writing is very captivating. So I'm into it, and I will report back once I finished it, because I'm definitely going to finish that for my Japanese read. So yay, I'll actually get to participate in Invisible Cities this month. And then there was another book that my library had that was already on my TBR. So I doubt I'm going to get to this, but I took it out just in case. It's the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. And it's about a man who is traveling to, I think, to visit 3 friends of his, and takes his cat with him. And I get the sense that this is going to be like partly, sorry, there's an insect in my room. It is January. What are you doing alive? It's a ladybug. That's weird. Sorry, squirrel. I get like the sense that this is going to be like partly heartwarming, but with a tinge of sadness. This is just my prediction. So we'll see if I have time for that. Probably not. So those are all the things I've read and have been reading, and my TBR for January all at once. No rambles for today. I don't really have any bookish things that I want to discuss. It's been a weird week, I think, for everybody. I don't think I really need to weigh in on the insurrection in the United States, given that I'm Canadian. But just to say to my American subscribers that we in Canada are thinking of you and hope that everything resolves as best it can at this point, I think, is what we're feeling. So yeah, hope everyone is safe and well, and we'll chat soon. Take care.